are we doing again today? Oh, okay, Google. Let's watch a review of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold2 5G. Shane. This is SKMDK back with another video, and finally, as you can see by the title of this video, we'll be doing the review of the Galaxy Z Fold2 5G. I have to say, that sounds like a long name. So after using it as my main device for close to 3 weeks, I think I'm ready to share my experience on it and try to answer whether are we ready for foldable devices, further helping you decide whether this device is for you or not. So without wasting any time, let's get right into this. Thanks for tuning in again on my channel where I do tech reviews, unboxings, tutorials, etc. If this is your vibe, which it probably is since you're watching this video, then you've come to the right place. So could you please hit that subscribe button and that bell icon? This really means a lot to me and your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Now let's get to the main order of the day. Let's start with the design. One word, head turning. Everything about this device really just makes it a joy to even just look at it, whether unfolded or folded. Now let us first focus on this new folding form structure, which is what makes the device stand out. The magic of the folding display happens in the hideaway hinge, in what Samsung describes as where engineering and craftsmanship come together. And I actually have to agree. It is designed with what Samsung calls CAM or CAM technology, which allows the device to lock at any angle up until 180 degrees flat when unfolded. This design makes a device to allow for sort of 3 form factors. Firstly, as a phone. Secondly, as a tablet. Thirdly, in a laptop-like form. As you might think, this allows for actions and features which were never possible before. For example, taking pictures at different angles, as well as watching videos at different angles. More on that later. Then there's the app continuity feature. As the name goes, it allows for an app open on the cover screen to stay open after unfolding. This is great because I found myself most of the time, if I'm watching a video on the cover screen and I immediately want to jump to a bigger display, I can just unfold the display and stay on the same video. The cover screen is a bit weird and it does get some getting used to. It is tall but thin. Honestly, it does feel a bit difficult to type, especially on portrait mode. I have to say that I found myself using the main display more than the cover screen, purely also just because I love big displays and this main display is a joy to watch. One of the reasons why I like this device. The form factor does make me a bit uneasy at times, especially when the device is laying flat and unfolded. I cringe at the fact that the cover screen is facing the surface, which does make me a bit uneasy that it's probably scratching. But at least it's protected by Gorilla Glass Victus, which sort of addresses my fears. Though I have to say also, this lends the device to a fingerprint magnet, especially the cover screen. The form factor does allow for some never possible actions or features before. When unfolded, the cover screen can work as a camera screen, so that selfies can then be taken using the main rear camera setup, which is more powerful. More on that later. There's also flex mode, which honestly I have to say I haven't used that much. I have used flex mode to type in a laptop-like form, which honestly I also have to say that it doesn't lend itself to much usability, mainly because the keyboard is quite small. I have used flex mode more when reading documents because it creates such a nice reading effect, a scroll-like effect. I hope I'm making sense. I have also used flex mode to view videos at different angles, which is also quite a nice touch. One thing we can agree on though is that the device is head turning. The device is beautiful together with a mystic bronze color as well as the matte back design, which is a joy to glance at. The device is futuristic, but you also have to bear in mind that it does mean that it's a bit heavier as well as the fact that it's a bit bulky. So it will look like that in your pockets. Let us look at the specs in more detail. We have a Snapdragon 865 Plus chipset with an octa-core setup, an Adreno 650 GPU. Out of the box is running Android 10 with Samsung's One UI 2.5 skin on top. It will be receiving Android 11 as well as Samsung One UI 3.0. It comes in 256 and 512 GB storage, both running at 12 GB of RAM. It doesn't have a micro SD card slot, though I do feel like a 256 GB storage is quite enough for me. We have 5 cameras, yes, 5 cameras with a triple camera setup at the back and 2 selfie cameras on either side of the display in front. A large 6.2-inch Super AMOLED display of the cover screen protected by Gorilla Glass Victus, which is a big improvement from the tiny display of the first Galaxy Fold. The main display is 6.5-inch, made of Samsung's ultra-thin glass, vivid colors with dynamic AMOLED 2X, reduced blue light so it can be easy on the eyes. It does, however, not come with any Gorilla Glass protection. The device does come with a screen protector out of the box, which is also not recommended to be removed by Samsung, at least on the main display one. The juice for all of this is coming from 2 batteries that are on either side of the phone, together giving a capacity of 4,500 milliamp hours. Now onto the display. Both displays are beautiful with deep blacks and vivid colors. Honestly, this is not a surprise because Samsung's display are always market leading and the Z Fold2 5G is no exception. Both displays do have a punch hole for the selfie cameras. Honestly, the punch hole in the main display does sometimes feel a bit misplaced, especially when watching videos. It does feel like the right placement would be right on the corner. The cover screen does have thick bezels, especially onto the right of the display. Probably something that has to do with the hinge design, though it would have been great if it had minimal bezels. Probably would have made the screen to be a bit wider and make it better to type on the cover screen in portrait mode. While on the other hand, the main display has minimal bezels, which is great. One of the highlights of the main display is the high refresh rate at 120 Hz, allowing for buttery smoothness when scrolling. This being a huge display, it really does add to the experience. You really also need to use the device to actually realize that a high refresh rate does a world's difference. One though has to bear in mind that a higher refresh rate also does mean a higher battery usage, a department that I believe the Galaxy Z Fold2 doesn't struggle much in. More on that later. Now on to performance. Performance on this device is superb. No lagging whatsoever. Everything is smooth, even helped by the high refresh rate. I've also tested how many apps can be kept in memory before they are cleared. This would also indicate the memory management on this device. Obviously, if more apps can be kept in memory, it really means that multitasking on this device would be very good. As you can see, I've had 24 apps open on this device, and the first open app, which is Google Chrome, still stays open, which really means that multitasking on this device is a breeze. This is great given the multitasking capabilities of this device. I will delve deeper onto that aspect in another video. So stay subscribed and hit that bell icon so that you can be alerted when I upload that video. I put the device through its paces by playing some demanding games. Even with that, there's no lag whatsoever. Playing Call of Duty, one of the most demanding games at max graphics, everything is smooth. I also played Asphalt Legends, also at max graphics, no lag whatsoever, everything smooth. I also played Asphalt for around 30 minutes to assess how hot the device gets. I did a Geekbench run before playing the game as well as after playing the game. And as you can see, the score doesn't drop that much. And also, it's not very hot to the touch. I also did an additional test to this front requested by my sister, Anele. Thanks for that. She wanted to know whether it also gets very hot when you're running heavy Excel workbooks. And as you can see, after opening heavy Excel workbooks and doing some calcs, it is still also not hot to the touch. There's also a 5G capability on this device, which I haven't tested yet because of limited coverage. However, I'm planning to test this, so be on the lookout for that video. On to the camera department. This would require its own video, so I'll then just give a high-level view of the camera features and then delve deeper into another video where we go through the camera in more detail. Surprisingly though, the camera on this device is very good. I'll qualify why I say surprisingly. As mentioned, there's a 3-camera setup for the main camera system. The first camera being an ultra-wide lens. The second camera a wide-angle lens with optical image stabilization and autofocus. The third one a telephoto lens, all at 12 megapixels. The fourth and fifth cameras are the selfie cameras, all at 10 megapixels. Speaking of selfies, it's worth mentioning the ability of taking selfies with the main camera setup, meaning high quality selfies. This is great for selfie lovers. Samsung also added a feature to allow the cover screen to act as a preview screen for when you're taking a picture, allowing the people you're taking a picture of to see what you, the person taking the picture, can see on your camera screen. This is great for the people who are very picky with the pictures that you take them. Flex mode also allows for taking pictures at different angles. Now let's look at some pictures and videos that I took with the device. Testing 4K video on the Z Fold2 5G, as well as how good the audio is. And just walking. It's clear that this device doesn't struggle in the camera department. This is great because usually with the new form factors, manufacturers usually forget about the camera department. I'm reminded of tablets when they first came out. So heads off to Samsung for putting a good camera system on this device. Next on our list is the media consumption on this device. But firstly, I want to give a shout out to Tato Inama for asking that I review this section. Thanks, bud. I definitely have to say this. I love the speakers on this device. They are loud and audio quality is great. It even becomes better when you've activated Dolby Atmos. It creates such an immersive sound, which is really great for when you're watching movies. It really makes the experience of watching movies on this device marvelous. The immersive sound together with the big display really makes for a great watch. I do have one gripe about the speakers though. When the screen is unfolded and in landscape mode, you can unintentionally block the speakers with your hands. I do feel like a better placement for the stereo speakers should have been on the other side. Because as it is now, if you try not to block the speakers, then holding the device in landscape mode is uncomfortable because of the camera bump at the back. Now let's talk about what keeps the device going, the battery. As mentioned, there's two batteries on either side of the device with a combined capacity of 4,500 milliamp hours. From my experience, I'm able to go through the whole day without having to recharge. By the time I get to bed, I'm around 15% of battery, which for me is great. Also with around 8 hours of screen on time, which again for me I think is great. Let's look at some screenshots of the battery scenarios that I've tested. I think for me, it does a good job. There are also different ways of charging your device. Super fast charging, which is enabled when you use the charger that came with the device, takes around an hour and 30 minutes from 0 to 100, while the normal fast charger takes around 2 hours. And then I've also tested the fast wireless charger, which takes around 4 hours. All in all, for me, I think they charge pretty quickly. Wireless power share is also present on this device, meaning that you can save your friend's phone from dying. Well, of course, obviously, if your friend's phone also supports wireless charging. Now let's look at the security on this device. The biometrics on this device is face unlock and fingerprint scanner. Honestly, I haven't tested the face unlock because I don't usually trust it. While on the other side, I've used the fingerprint scanner, and actually I have to say I love the placement of it. It just feels natural. Also, it's responsive. I've had around an average of 90% success rate, which means that it's quite responsive. Now let's look at some day-to-day usage experience on this device. The UI is pretty intuitive, smooth, and everything is within reach. Really a great UI. Now also let's look at some usage experience on some of the most common apps. Starting with Instagram. Honestly, the usage experience on this device is not so great. The cover screen works well, while Instagram on the main display is pretty bad. It doesn't take full advantage of the main display, as well as the fact that it seems like the Instagram stories do not open well. Now on to Facebook. The usage experience on Facebook is better than Instagram, though I have noticed after some time that when rotating, it does seem like there's sometimes a glitch. On the other hand, Twitter works well for me. I haven't had any issues, everything is fine, takes full advantage of the main display also. The same can be said about WhatsApp, no issues whatsoever. Now I do know that this is not a comprehensive list of apps. So if there's a specific app that you want to know the experience of it on this device, please drop the name on the comment section below and I'll ensure that I include the experience of it in the upcoming videos. I'll now give my opinion on whether we're ready for foldable devices. To raise a question now seems a bit weird, given that this is the second generation of the Fold. However, I feel like the first Fold felt like it was just Samsung trying to show what they can do with foldable displays. However, the Fold 2 seems very ready for customer usage. So in terms of usability, I'll give the device a good score. I do, however, feel like they could have made the bezel on the cover screen smaller, which would probably help with typing as the cover screen would probably be wider. The other problem, which goes for sort of new form factors, is that the apps are not really optimized for it. And as you've seen, some of the apps really struggle to take advantage of the display. However, after using it for some time, I believe that this can be overlooked. And also the fact that this could also just take a bit of developers updating their apps to be compatible with the Fold 2. I think really this can be a deal breaker for me. However, I do feel like if this device had an S Pen, it would have made it even more perfect for me. But I will leave with that for now. So that's it, friends. Thanks for making it this far. I really appreciate your support. And if you really like this video, could you please smash that like button and also give a comment on what you liked the most. And also please share the video with your friends. Your support is really appreciated. And if indeed this is sort of videos that you like, please also hit that subscribe button because I have more similar videos in the pipeline. Next in line is a series of videos titled Deep Dive on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold2 5G, where we dive deep into specific features of the device, really getting to the bottom of it. The first of this will be deep dive on the camera. So if this is something that you like, please stay subscribed and also hit that bell icon, and also comment on the specific features that you would want me to cover in this series. So thanks again for watching. See you next time, same place. This was SKMDK signing out. Cheers.